So some of my subscribers have asked me, wow, you have so many blogs and how many fast you're writing blog posts. Like, what are you doing? And so I was like, oh, well, I'll show you what I do. Here are 4 fast ways to write blog posts. And not all of them are AI because, like, as I mentioned in previous videos, you know, using AI is nice as an assistant, but it does take a bit longer for me to get it all right. So I'm a lot faster with my process. I'm a lot faster typing and putting my thoughts into sentences. I rely on AI as sort of like this minimal assistant for me to just streamline my process. But in the actual writing of the blog post and doing all these things, there are other ways that you can write a blog post and not just slap on AI. That is a spammy way. That is not the best way to use AI, is just to get the input from, let's say, ChatGPT, and then just slap it on, and then that's it. You do that for each part of your blog post and then you're done. That's not what we're doing, and I don't do that. I use AI very ethically, I feel, and so I want to teach those methods to you. So lately I've been doing these fast ways to publish or write the blog post so that I can publish it faster on the multiple sites that I have. Now, the first way is to transcribe a video. I've done this in the past, but I will show you right now what that looks like. All right, so in my previous video, I talked about my Pinterest strategy. So I can title this something like this. I'll probably play around with the title. I usually, when as a freelance writer and as a content writer for clients, I usually just put a title. If they don't give me a title, I will put something like this. It's usually long-winded. It's usually a lot of things that I'm thinking about. And then after, you know, I write the post or whatever, I change it. I look for keywords. Oh, and I do things like that to change the title. But this is just what I'm going to be writing about. I'm going to write about how I'm going to get more page views, and it's my Pinterest strategy. I can transcribe the video. It doesn't mean that once I transcribe it and put it here, that's it. Like, I'm going to publish it. You have to do editing. You have to make it make sense. There's probably not a proper introduction. So what I do, I go to my YouTube channel, I click on the video, and I wait for the ad. You cannot transcribe this until the ad is done. I skip and then I pause. I go down here to show transcript. And then here is what I do is I toggle the timestamp so I don't have to copy that. And then I just run my cursor. I'm sure maybe Control A does the same thing, but I just run it to make sure I just have everything, and I'm going to paste it. From here, I'm going to paste it into a Google Doc because it's not formatted the way I want it to be formatted, so I need to do some formatting. The first thing I do is do Control F for finding, and then I press the 3 dots there, and it brings up this thing. I want to get rid of my ums. There's like 8 of them. So I'm going to replace with nothing. So replace all. So now there's 0. I'm going to see if there's ums. Okay. So that's one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to do Pinterest. So find Pinterest and replace it with a capital Pinterest. That will help me. Replace all. Okay. Also, I see some words that are like this. So I'm going to find again, and in space, I'm going to replace all of that. And there might be some gaps here, and that's fine. So I have that part. I just want to do a little bit of scanning, and I can do this again when it's in my back end of my blog that I see. The next thing I use is an extension. And so it's the text cleaner here to clean selected text. You can remove line breaks, all of these things. So if I Control A, I can get all of that, and then I can use the text cleaner. So remove line breaks and clean selected text, remove multiple spaces, move paragraph breaks there. So now it's sort of like in this version that we want. So now what I'll do is I'll grab this, and I can do one or two things. I can go and put this in the back end of my WordPress site and work on it. But that does take a bit of time. That will take over an hour to really, you know, like separate all the sentences and get all your ideas and all that stuff. Or I can try and feed it to ChatGPT and then see if it can at least give me a draft that I can work with. So let's look at the ChatGPT side and see what I can do with this. All right, so I just said in my TOV, because it knows my TOV, that's conversational. Take this YouTube transcript of my words and use my words to create a blog post of 7 things I did for Pinterest strategy in 2025. Use all the ideas and examples the best you can make to make it highly engaging blog post. Here it is. And let's just see what it does. So it's going to take its time and do this. What I like is that it is using my words. I can see that. and it's doing a good job. The introduction isn't as beefy as I would like it, but I would look at this and be like, okay, I can use this as a guideline to write the blog post. If it's not that content heavy, then I can add more content to it. I can add more ideas to it and all that. But this does look like this is exactly what I was talking about. I was talking about my kids' hockey game or hockey practice here and skiing. This says hockey or skiing practice. So he doesn't practice skiing, he just skis. But I can look at all this and see like, yes, this is what I talked about. I talked about the Pinterest native scheduler, and I did say that I haven't used it. I wouldn't say that I'm a huge fan, but I would say I've never been consistent on using it. So I would change some things of what ChatGPT is giving me, but it's at least giving me these bullet lists where I can go and now write more about it or give examples about it or things like that. So that's what I like about using it this way. And so it'll go and do these things. The other way is then to take it and then chop it up and work on it yourself. If you want to stay away from ChatGPT, if you feel like it's not that engaging, that you find that it's not that helpful, then you can go this route. Like I use both. If I'm in a pinch, I will take this as a rough draft and then I'll put it in the back end and I'll save it. And when I have more time, I'll go through it and edit it and add more and add more and add more of my stuff and beef up the introduction and do all these things. If I have a big chunk of time, then I can go here and do it this way. Like my introduction isn't that big. So I can take ChatGPT's and see if I can meld the two. I called it shared third-party pins, which gives away the strategy, but I sort of like ChatGPT's of being a Pinterest user. That sounds good. And this is what I've been doing so far with taking my transcript and turning it into a blog post here. So number one, it seems a lot here, but I can look at ChatGPT and say, well, what did I not add, or what can I add more, be more intentional. And this is where I sort of stopped to go from here and finish it. But now I can look and see about being more intentional, which is using the native scheduler, and see about these things here. These are actual things that I mentioned, and then I can go and use this. So like I said, I wouldn't just slap this. This is not even 1,000 words. You can tell ChatGPT to take each bullet point using my transcript, elaborate on it using my words, but I don't want to go through all that right now. That's just like one of the first things that I would do if I am pinched for time and I need sort of like an actual blog post. I can take and spend a weekend or an evening taking all of my YouTube videos, if I have a channel, and transcribing them, go through Google Docs with the extension, clean it up, give it to ChatGPT for a rough draft, and then have these rough drafts in the back end of your blog so that you have 5-10 blog posts ready to go. You just need to, like I said, elaborate here and there, add some more detail, beef up the introduction, do those things. But know that when you tell ChatGPT, you have to tell it to use your words from your transcript. Don't overfluff it. Don't use other things. Use the words that were given to you, and it will stay true to that. Okay, so that's, like I said, one of the ways that I use ChatGPT so that it reads a lot better. It reads in my tone of voice. If ChatGPT doesn't know your tone of voice, give it a sample of your writing. Tell it, what type of writing is this? Tell me some points, and then save that in ChatGPT, or use that, say, in this TOV of being XXX or XYXYZ, take this transcript and use my words and form sentences and make it highly engaging and whatever you need to do. Okay. So that's the first way that I try to write blog posts fast. I'll have a deposit of several blog posts ready to go in draft format. The second way is to use embedded pins. Now, I did mention that in a previous video of how I try to write blog posts faster, and one of the best ways is to use pins instead of trying to source images everywhere. So for example, I was using Amazon images here. You can also do that if that's faster for you. It's not faster for me apparently, but just embedding a pin like this, I can do that for my list post. And I often do that for many list posts that I don't have the time to find an image, source an image, or create an image, or whatever it is in my process. This is so much faster. I can just go and add a pin. So if I needed to do that, I don't know, I probably don't need to do it here, but I can go to Pinterest, and let's say if I wanted to use this pin, I'll just copy it and then just share it in here. And now I have the pin right here. And it's so much faster. It's so much easier for me to quickly write the list part of the blog post, because most of my blog posts will be in list format. This is 7 things that I'm sharing for my Pinterest strategy. So there's 7 things. I can put 7 pin images in here if it makes sense. All right. So that's a lot faster for me. So again, in draft mode, get those pins first. A lot of times I have like 35 things that I'm talking about, and that's a lot. So for this one is 65 things. I'm not going to go and find 65 images. I'm going to go and find 65 pins. So much easier. So what I did with this was I just quickly grabbed all of these. I spent maybe 10 minutes sourcing all of these pin images, and then popped them into my post. And then the next day I went and wrote the introduction, and then I wrote like 2 sentences here to write about each thing. This was a fast post. It was during the Christmas holidays. Obviously I have some downtime here and there, but I wanted to get this over and done with quickly. So that's what I mean by embedding images. Now, the next thing that I do for some of my blogs is to copy and paste a slide deck. For my Alma Kane audience and my YouTube videos, I often do slide decks. And so these 2 blog posts came from the slide deck that I was using. So, and then the video that I made with the slide deck in it. So what I did is in my Google Slides here, the 4 steps to becoming a profitable freelance writer. So then I would just take this and I would, again, make it more approachable for a blog post intro, but then go here. Start by reaching out to people you already know. Go to a friend or family. This might lead to an unexpected project. Go to a friend and family here. This might lead to an unexpected project. I put a writing job because I'm using SEO for this blog. So again, I'm taking each of this and then just SEOing it and adding some other elements to make the sentence make sense. And then that's it. So I was able to do this very easily. And then I did it again the next day. So this was on the 7th and then on the 8th. So I did this, like I was able to sit down and copy all of this stuff. So in 2023, I raised my rates. I was having panic attacks and sweating profusely. If I go to this slide deck, I can see, oh, in 2023, I raised my rates from this. I was having panic attacks and sweating profusely. I found that this was a good introduction to a blog post, so I kept it. It was very easy for me to use these slide decks because these are words that I wrote. I wrote these slide decks out so I can use them and repurpose my own writing to my blog post. And that's what I did. So if you do slide decks, if you have like an old webinar that you did that's still relevant, or, you share slide decks on your YouTube videos or things like that, repurposing that content, this could also be in the form of an email that you use to write the blog post, right? So do whatever. I often do the blog post to the email, but you can do it the other way. But I like the slide deck because it's usually long. There's 15 things here. So I can write a good blog post about this and then just add a little bit more to it. So I add screenshots. These are probably the same in the slide deck. I know that one is. I add a little bit more here to be, have more examples. Again, for SEO, this was the image that I shared in the slide deck. So I talked about it a little bit more here than in the video. And same here, I use aspects of the slide deck here. This is not a long post. Most of my posts on this blog are over 2,000 words. I believe this was only 1,100 words. I'm fine with that. I'd rather get a blog post up because this site, the last time I wrote for this blog was in August of 2024. So my next one was in March of 2025. So it's not like I abandoned it completely, but I was doing other things. And so I was still maintaining my traffic on this blog of about 20,000 page views. So that was fine for me. But now I have some time and I thought maybe this is a faster way. And it was a faster way. Like I said, I was able to publish these blog posts very quickly. All right. And then the last thing that I did to write fast blog posts is something that I'm trying to do with one of my blogs. I'm taking content from a site that is getting no Google love or Pinterest love and repurposing it or using aspects of it for a new blog. So I'll go to the food stuff and I will look at a blog post that I can recreate. So something like this. I can go to pin clicks and see make ahead freezer meals. Is that a better keyword to use, or should I use make ahead dinner and see if that's a better one? So I'll go to pin clicks and type in make ahead freezer meals. That gets about 22,000 searches. If I put dinners, is it higher than that? No, it's not actually. So that's interesting. So I'll do meals. Instead of freezer meals, I'll just say make ahead meals. That's more. So there's one there. And dinners. more. All right. So on my new blog, I will title it, X make ahead dinners that you can freeze, or for the whole month you can have, like something like that to make it, Pinterest friendly, and then use aspects of that blog post to fill the blog post, because that's my own writing. It's my blog post that I wrote and I can use it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm sort of repurposing these blog posts that I can write blogs faster for a new site. All right, so those are the things that I'm doing right now. Go ahead and enroll in my Pin to Profit Blueprint. It's proven tactics to earn you $5,000 a month. This stuff works. I don't know why it has all that there, but just go to twinsmommy.com. It's the lead magnet that's there, and sign up and get some actionable things for Pinterest so that you can grow your traffic and then create more content with these 4 fast ways. All right. So if you haven't already, make sure to check out my video on what to do if you have no traffic and what you can do instead to get more traffic. Make sure to check out that video after this one, and drop a comment and let me know if you've used these methods to write a blog post. I'd love to hear if you have other methods too. All right. I'll see you in that video.